So almost a year ago, we got the trailer to the final season of Stranger Things, and create a prediction what we could possibly see for 11 in the Stranger Things gang. Now for this video, please be sure to hit the like button, follow or subscribe depending on where I put this on, and drop a like in the comments with your thoughts on the video. Let's get this started. So the first episode, we get the title of The Crawl. Now the crawl can come with a couple meanings. Alright, that being Vecna crawls back to continue his plan after recovering almost from a fatal gunshot wound and as well as getting burned alive at his home. Or this can signify a dungeon crawl where D&D players move slowly from room to room in a dangerous dungeon. Now this is kind of a perfect parallel for the kids exploring Vecna's world when they decide to infiltrate the Upside Down. And what better way to continue this chaos by having someone important missing, because the next episode it was hinted to be called The Vanishing Of, but later on, eventually I think it was like a couple months later, we come to find out that The Vanishing Of was for Holly Wheeler. Now this could possibly send us on a flashback of Will's experience in the Upside Down as well as how he survived it. Then we will eventually get Holly Wheeler's experience when she gets taken into the Upside Down, or maybe even taken hostage by Vecna, because we don't know what's going to be. Is she going to be lost in there and they're going to have to look for her, or does Vecna have her the whole time? Now Mike's sisters being involved comes with a big mess, as her connection to Mike and the Stranger Things gang is what causes her to be a part of this in the first place. Now remember last season when Will described Mike as the heart of the team. But what if Vecna can find a way to break the heart or disrupt it in a way so that gives him enough time to progress his plans closer to the endgame? And I'm sure that the best possible way to do this is to target somebody close to him. Now he has tried going against Mike's sister, but it did not work, as Nancy is kind of a hardy person and she is very good at surviving apparently. But what if he decides, why not target Holly? Now, I'm sure he's been taking notes of everybody in the area as well as all their families, and decides to make this into a plan and basically disrupt the flow of the team. Because while this is happening, we know that the government will be trying everything they can to stop the issue before it becomes a nationwide disaster. This would be leading us into the Turnbow Trap. Turnbow Trap is the name of the title, but Turnbow can also be a person, it can be a place, or even a code name. Now, with what we would assume is a plan to trap and capture Vecna, just for the plan to go wrong due to Vecna already figuring out what the plan is and finding a way to flip the script on the team and the government forces trying to enter the Upside Down. But, and I say but, I'm gonna keep saying a but a lot in this video because there's so many buts and stuff we don't know, because all we're getting is titles. But what if someone finally steps up to level the playing field? Someone who is familiar with the Upside Down, a person that survived longer than most and even has a connection. Someone who is destined to redeem themselves, whose life has been changed since the beginning of the show. And if you said Keith, give yourself a round of applause, because that's not who I'm talking about. Who I'm talking about is the real hero right now, and that is Will Byers, because the next episode is called The Sorcerer. Now Vecna will be considered the Dark Sorcerer, but what is Will's D&D character's name, right? We all know that he is the great and all-powerful Will the Wise. Now, the name itself implies a magical and scholarly role, similar to a wizard or a sorcerer. Now, this is a class in D&D, alright? His nickname, The Wise, evokes intelligence and wisdom-based spellcasting. Not just that, but he is a literal walking Vecna radar. Now, in one of my last videos, I brought up the similarities between them. How Will be the one to stop Vecna, but there's just so many factors that's going to be needed to stop Vecna that why it's going to be added into the part of this video. Now, if you guys don't know already, Vecna's power dampener was behind his neck. And where does Will's super sense come from? It's right in the back of the neck where it starts to flare up and the hairs go up, because that's exactly where Vecna's power shows. The dampener was on the back of his neck. Once it was removed, all his abilities came back. Now this episode will be a very heroic story pushing Will to overcome his trauma and take his place as one of the essential members of the team. Now this is the arc where Will the Rise shows his evolution from a victim to a sorcerer of the right side up, because during this crucial moment we should assume that there will be multiple teams at play, and while Will is busy, we will eventually cut to the other team at a different location, like the radio station, because as the next episode shows, it's called Shock Jock. Now, the reason why I hint at this is because this could be at a radio station, right? And it can also be a hint to a new character taking the helm and helping the team by controlling the radio waves. Now, this could be a way for 11 to find Vecna's exact location in the Upside Down by using the radio waves, or maybe this could be something like the jockey using the radio station to provide misinformation, causing chaos and mayhem through the town, as there is already so much fear going on. The town is torn apart, there's rifts everywhere, there's a lot of deaths already in the show. This jockey, no matter who it is, maybe it's one of the ones in the Stranger Things gang, or it could be a new character. Now, all this happening could bring the town of Hawkins together or create a rift of paranoia, because it won't be the only nightmare fuel that the team will be going against, because episode 6 is called Escape from Kamazotz. Now, Kamazotz in D&D is a bat god, a bat-themed demon. We know that Stranger Things frequently borrows D&D names and imagery, making this a natural nod to bat-like threats such as the demi-bats from the earlier season. But just like everything in the universe, those demi-bats come from somewhere, right? And just like the demi-dogs that get significantly bigger, what if the demi-bat's mommy decides to come out and play? Now imagine the Demigorgon with wings. We all saw what a few of those little demi-rats with wings did to freaking Steve. Now imagine a full-grown demi-bat. Now this would be big enough to take out a squad of people in the Upside Down, leaving a pile of corpses in its wake. And in this war, there are so many unknown variables and factors when walking into the Upside Down, as we have yet to see all the creatures that inhabit the Upside Down. This can cause a full-on retreat, with possibly more than half of the infiltration team barely making it out alive, resulting in the incident of the escape from Kamazotz. Now, with so many unknowns in play, this could lead us to episode 7. Because after suffering such a major loss, possibly, because it's a speculation, who knows how this is gonna go. Everything I'm saying could just go right out the window at some point. But the question would be, how do we coexist with these monsters? Or better yet, how could we close the bridge to the Upside Down so that these monsters never see the right side up and cause havoc? Because there's no way to know what could happen and how big of a legion Vecna commands. This isn't just a nationwide issue, this is a global-wide problem. The fact that the Russians caught wind of this and almost created a rift earlier in the show, what would happen on a global scale? This could cause a conflict between nations. Wars could actually ensue, fighting for control of the rift so that they can try and become a global superpower amongst all the other nations right now. But what if this is what Vecna wants? Create a conflict. And while the nations are fighting over their new toy, the Stranger Things gang will be working hard on showing Vecna why the right setup will never kneel to a tyrant, because the next episode, the final episode, is called The Right Side Up. Now, this final battle, with both sides taking losses, we continue to the climax. Before that, like this whole episode, we're gonna speculate something. Now, we're assuming that Max finally wakes up between episodes 6, 7, or 8. Just like Will, she will have a connection to the Upside Down. So what if she awakens from her coma, gains these specific powers, let's say a seer. Now, a seer has the power of vision, or the ability to locate rifts, disrupt Vecna's abilities on the mental realm, while 11 attacks outside, because 11's attacks are mostly on a more physical level, even though she doesn't use her hands, but still. She just uses her hands to point at the direction of whatever the hell she's attacking. But either way, I'm going on a tangent here. Max's awakening can possibly help the team in multiple ways, as a new psychic scout or seer, a nimble street fighter, and a connector of who could leverage her generational strength, and even an emotional hinge whose choices decides the final victory. And as we all know, Max will give Vecna a final FU, as they either finally send Vecna back to the Upside Down, sealing it shut, or taking him down so that he can never take another life.